So I I don't even understand. I don't even understand, to be quite honest. I don't understand what happened. I don't understand how this is a thing right now. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very sad like all of you are. Um we'll just go ahead and we're just gonna roll with this. I have an outline, but I don't know. I don't all I can say is I don't know. We just found out today that Gary Stucky passed away today on November 21st of 2024. And just saying those words is so I don't know. I I I, I sound like a crazy person right now, but I just don't know. I never met Gary. Never met him in person. Um, of course, we talked on the phone a couple of times, really great conversations. He's been on the show. Al did a really nice, he put something nice together tonight on the radio station, but we communicated through social media. And, social media has a way of, you form an opinion, you feel like you know somebody through social media. You feel like you are connected to people through social media. That's why we do what we do, right? Um and another thing with social media, it's like just like, I'm sorry I'm comparing I'm just talking about what pops in my head, to be honest, but like rock stars, we think they're going to be there forever. We think our favorite celebrities are just going to be there forever. We think our parents are going to live forever. And that's not reality. Um but when you're connecting with people through social media, I think it's a greater vision that you just think each other's gonna be here forever, and, that's what I felt about Gary. I just kinda felt like, "Hey, Gary's over there, he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing." Um, Nice guy, he's always kind to me. Um, Gary Stucky loves Steve Perry and Journey. I love Steve Perry and Journey, and that's how we connected. We connected on YouTube because he reached out and says, "Oh my gosh, another crazy person that likes Steve Perry like me." And, that's how that all started between him and I. And, he always thanked God, always mentioned God. Very spiritual man, I feel. Again, I never met Gary. I never met him. Um, and just reading the posts from his brother Barry, I'm just like, what is going on? What happened? And again, it's none of our business, right? Like we have to, take a step back and say, listen, Gary's no longer with us. It's not like it's important to know exactly what happened, but you just say, what the F? What the F? He was just here. And again, this is where I feel so bad because I got to reach out to Gary. I got to say hi to Gary. I got to talk to Gary. And one day passes, 2 days pass, a week passes, a month passes, and then it just doesn't happen because life just happens, right? And I think this is a lesson of many lessons that happen in life. And we all need to realize we may not be here tomorrow. We may not be here a minute from now. We need to reach out to the people we need to reach out to because they may not be here when we feel like we're ready to reach out. I mean, I feel awful about that. I really do. But Gary's the guy. He's a Steve Perry guy. He's the guy everyone says, "Oh my gosh, we know that we're gonna get Steve Perry information because if Gary Stuckey's gonna talk about Steve Perry, we know this is gonna happen. We know. We just know." Except for the season 3. Can I just say that? I was really skeptical about that. Because I didn't see it anywhere. But it ended up happening. It ended up happening. And I remember a long time ago, I said to Gary, I'm like, you know things. You just like, do you know inside information about Steve Perry? And this was one of our phone conversations that we had. He's like, no, I just know. I mean, he just knew. And, that's one of the things about Gary is that he really threw himself into everything he talked about Steve Perry. That was his forte. That was his thing. That was his love and that was his passion. Besides his kids, that his kids were the apples of his eyes. Again, just going off what I've seen him post on social media, he loved his children. And he loved his family, he loved his parents dearly. Always worried about his parents, always cared about them, always, talking about them. And, again, these are things I'm speculating from what I saw on social media. And I don't think these are bad things. I think these are things that were probably true. I think Gary loved being a dad. I think Gary was a very creative individual. And I think that's why we connected when we did, because, he was here on YouTube to create and to be able to express himself. That's what YouTube is here for. And, that's what I tried to do. So we had a connection that way because we're both just sitting here, just trying to express ourselves. And Gary did a great job doing that. And everybody who loved Gary, everybody who followed Gary, loved Gary. Loved Gary. I mean, you didn't see anything negative about Gary. You saw people posting things on Gary's page. They loved him. They loved him. He was a very respected social media guy with the Steve Perry information and the journey information. And, I can't sit here, whatever you think, it doesn't bother me, but I can't sit here and say, oh my gosh, Gary and I were best friends. We weren't. I never met him, sadly. We had a dream to meet. We did. But I feel like we were friends because of what we both loved to do. And, I'm very sad about this today. Sorry. It's weird how you don't know somebody, but you feel like you do. And I think we all felt like we knew him. I think we all felt like, because of his love for God, because of his love for, the same type of music that we all love, we all felt like we had a connection with him. And, that's why I think it's so shocking to me that he's gone. Really, I don't understand it. Um, and this is just, I guess, you sorry. It's just like one of those things in life you question, and you do look up to God and say, why would you take him? Like, why? Why? He seemed like a nice person, somebody who just wanted to enjoy life and cared about his family. And, why would you take him? So, and I'm sure that, those of you who are listening or watching or whatever feel the same way, because even if you never met Gary, you're probably like, what the hell? What just happened? And I think this is the question, why him? Why him? But it just really does turn into, I feel bad. I haven't reached out to him lately. I do. I do. And I'm saying that because I've thought about it. Isn't that ridiculous? And again, it's just one of those things in life. You think about things, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. That's life. That's reality. But you know what, guys? If we have this thing pulling within us, we have to follow it. I truly believe that. And I should have followed it. I should have followed it a long time ago, and I didn't. And, I feel bad about it. But I do know that he was a great guy. He was a nice man who, just cared about what he was doing. And one of the conversations I had, and I'm sure this isn't, bad to share, he told me that he loved talking to people, just people he'd connected with on social media, and just trying to help them through their problems, talking to people for hours on the phone, people he didn't know. I mean, like, that's a nice person. It's a caring person. Just somebody who does something like that is someone who truly cares about, who is within their world, you know. And I do have to say, and this is where the other side of me comes out, and like the devil on my shoulder is talking now, that Gary loved Steve Perry and Journey so much, right? Gary talked about them so much, and I have not seen a thing yet from either the Journey camp or the Steve Perry camp. Small creator, Gary was. Small creator, I am. But you know what? All I can say is I really, truly hope that both of these camps truly should acknowledge the fact that Gary has passed. And I'm telling you right now, if I don't see something from at least one of these camps, the Journey camp or the Steve Perry camp, I'm going to be really pissed, and I'm going to talk about it. Because, a lot of people who followed Gary, if Gary said, get a record, get this record, people went and bought that record because of Gary. So I really hope that there is acknowledgement from the Journey camp and the Steve Perry camp, because he deserves that. He deserves it.
Go ahead, Denise.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi. Hi.
This is Denise. I was a friend of Gary's.
Oh my gosh, Denise, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll just tell you a brief little story. We met just before, well, not physically met, but on Twitter. I was searching for something to talk about Steve Perry, and talk about, have other people who, had that relation where they wanted to talk about him. So anyway, I met Gary through that, and we met several other people, but Gary and I had a connection with another gal named Pam, and we left. We ended up leaving Twitter and going on to Messenger so the three of us could chat together. And of course, we talked about everything about Journey and about Steve, and because Pam was trained in opera, she had a lot of musical background, and so she would take and critique Steve's voice and say, "Hey, did you hear that? Can you tell he went from head to chest voice?" And the three of us just really, connected through that. But then we had another connection, which was by our faith and strong faith in God and everything. And so we would talk about, besides talking about Steve Perry and talking about Journey and talking about music, we would talk and support one another. If one of us was having a downtime or something like that, Gary would come in and pray for us, or we would pray for him, or whatever the situation happens to be. And that went on for a couple of years. This was in 2018, just before Steve had come back on the scene, in the music scene, really. And then unfortunately, Pam passed away in 2020. So we lost one of our trio. And that was really painful for both Gary and I. And we did a video, on his YouTube page, we did a video.
Right. I remember that.
About her, losing her, and how hard it was, and about the connection that we had. And, those moments are something you can't get back. They're moments that just stick with you no matter what you go through, whatever, he was going through in his life, or whatever I was going through in my life. Those moments you kind of step back into and think, oh my gosh, how precious they were. And we would sit on Messenger for hours, just talking and saying stupid things and making up words and making up sentences. I mean, that's the kind of funny personality that Gary and Pam and I had together.
Yeah.
And it's something that I will always remember. And just thinking about, it's just not fair. It's not right. He's too young.
Right.
And I'm the oldest one of the three of us. And, now Pam's gone, now Gary's gone. And, I always will have those memories. Thank God I can still go back on Messenger and read them, and I was just doing that this afternoon and just laughing at some of the stupid things we say. But, it's really important to make sure that you don't lose connection with people.
Right.
And let things go. If things are hard, you just have to accept it and move on. And otherwise you lose something special.
You're so right.
That's basically where I was sitting, and I hadn't talked to Gary in maybe a month or so. And he had his own life things going on, and I had mine, and my kids and grandkids and stuff. But I know that he loved his family.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I got, that's what I took from, his posts and, what he said on social media. Again, I didn't know him like you knew him. I just knew him from this space, and I gathered these things about him. And I think that you definitely secured the fact that, yes, Gary loved his family. Gary loved what he did. And that's important.
You know that when you just meet somebody, either face to face or, through social media. I mean, social media, you can be anybody that you want to be, but you can generally tell who's genuine and who's true in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And you can't find that anywhere. You just can't. It's just a feeling. It's just something that you have,
It's true. It's true.
He will definitely be sorely missed, and fortunately we have all of, the videos and the interviews and such that he has done.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, and that was one of the things I was going to say too. Like, the good thing, this whole thing is terrible. Like, I've been just in a cloud all day going,
Hmm.
what is this? And then I had to say to myself, well, Gary's going to be here forever. He's going to
Hmm.
be here forever because, like you said, his
Hmm.
interviews and his YouTube
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah, he
And
will. He'll be there. Hopefully, he's in heaven making music with our friend Tammy. That's what he
yeah.
called her.
Oh.
But
You're
yeah.
so blessed though that you got to have that type of a
Hmm.
relationship with him.
Yeah, I do feel that it's something that something that I'll always treasure. And
Yeah.
like I said, I can go back on Messenger and even on Twitter, or well, X now.
Yeah.
I can still go back and look at those conversations and feel that there was really something that's I'm definitely blessed over having those
And
still.
I'm so sorry for the loss
Thank you.
of both of your
Thank you. And
friends.
I'm sorry for everybody too. I mean, I know that a lot of people, he touched a lot of lives, a lot of hearts and everything. And it wasn't just music, it wasn't his beliefs, or, you know, it was just him.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we just have to, like I said, and you said it too. I don't even think you heard me say it, but you have to just follow. If you've got a pull of something like, oh, I should call this person, you got to put everything down and you got to do it.
hmm yeah, they say don't sweat the small stuff because it's all small stuff. Don't make a big deal about something that isn't necessarily a big deal.
But you know what? For me though, it was life. It's just like, you know
Hmm.
what? I'll do it later. Because
Hmm.
you take
Hmm.
everything for granted.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Live for today because tomorrow's not promised.
absolutely, Denise.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I think that's the big point here. And maybe, this is Gary's way of saying to everybody, to all of us, you got to just, you got to reach out. If you feel the need to reach out, then that's your sign to reach out.
Hmm. Hmm. That's it. That's it. So,
Again, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
thank you.
And
Thank you.
you're very, very blessed. Like I said, you had the relationship you did, and you got as close to him as you did, and your friend Pammy, and you all sound like you had just a wonderful time together, and those are things you can't take away. Nobody can take away that from you. And
Yeah.
you
It's
you
just we'll get through it and laugh about stuff and just remember that's what we have. Fortunately, we have that.
absolutely. Well,
Have our memories.
Denise, thank you for sharing, and thank you for
Thank you.
being strong and talking to us tonight. We appreciate it.
All righty. Well, thank you, and God bless everybody.
Thank you, Denise. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And I haven't even I'm just kind of glazing over the comments, and Mary Mendoza, like, Mary's known Gary for a very long time, and I know that you will miss Gary. You guys had a very special connection, and we all, like, everybody here in everybody who's here right now, everybody, and people who watch this later, clearly you had some type of connection with Gary Cooper Stucky. And that's where, in a weird, like, and again, this is just flowing into my head in a weird way, he's bringing us all together, and he's taught me a lesson to just don't let life get in the way. Don't let life get in the way. Pick up the phone, get in your car, do what you got to do, and keep the connections with people around you there. We can't always keep everything strong because we all only have so much time in a day. And isn't it great? Like here I go, about the life thing again getting in the way, but it's true. Like life is busy, life is crazy, but we do have to make time for each other. We really do. And that's why I come on here, because not only is it to connect with you, that's the major part, but it's also to, it helps me too. I tell you guys this all the time. This is like therapy all the time. And maybe in a way it was therapy for Gary too, because, you know, again, even though we all haven't met each other, we feel connected. We feel like we're friends. And I think that's a safe thing to say. And Gary was just a very, calm, kind human being. So we all know Gary's tagline was DSB, don't stop believing. I didn't feel that any of those lyrics were appropriate to read for Gary tonight because they don't apply to the feelings I feel today and probably for you as well. And I will leave you on this note. If I can get through this poem, I will try my best. And before I read this poem in honor of Gary Cooper Stucky, I really do hope that Journey acknowledges the fact that Gary has passed. I do hope that Steve Perry takes a moment to acknowledge the fact that Gary has passed, because Gary was his biggest fan here on YouTube. Sorry, he was. And Gary put his heart and soul into doing his videos about Steve Perry and about Journey. So at least give him that, please. If anybody sees this, anyone, please, I all I'm asking is for Gary to get some acknowledgement, because he deserves it. So I'm going to read this poem, and I'm just going to read it. And this is called The White Chariot by Julie Johnson. And I just, I was looking up things to read. I looked at the lyrics of Don't Stop Believing. I'm like, no. Walking down the boulevard, like it didn't fit with tonight. You know what I mean? And this poem, I'm not kidding you. It was in the middle of my screen, and I read it, and I said, this is what I have to read for Gary tonight. During your journey on your final flight home, white wings will carry you, and you will be flown to the pearly gates of heaven, where they will usher you in. To the feet of your Lord, your Savior, and your friend. He will hold you in his arms, and the angels will sing, as another one of his children is delivered by white wings. That's that. So